Hello students, I hope you are doing well, studying properly and learning all your concepts. A clever boy. Did you ever do something wrong and then try to wipe out evidence to escape punishment? What was the outcome? Read this interesting description of how a young boy ate up 17 orange pipes, peel and all to escape imprisonment for having stolen them and what happened to him. I used to be so fond of oranges that I could suck one after another the whole day long, until the time when the policeman gave me a scare at the dock gates when he caught me up almost red-handed with 17 hidden away in various pockets and locked me up. Ever since I have never looked at an orange because that day I had my fill of them. तो एक बार क्या हुआ था? The narrator was riding a little pony and cart for the Swift delivery company in those days, and lots of my pickups were at the docks. Now, he was not what you call a thief, and I did not make a practice of knocking things off just because they didn't belong to me, like some people do. But still, it was rarely that I came away from the docks without picking up something I could chew during the day. तो कुछ ना कुछ खाने के लिए उठा लेता था. Suppose they were unloading a banana boat. Well, I used to draw my little cart alongside. They were often loose bunches that had dropped off the main stalks, and when the chance came, I would either grab a few or some friendly foot would shown them towards me. Then I used to duck them out of sight under my brat. The brat was an apron made from a sugar bag supposed to be a good protection against rain and rough wear. Okay, so that is what a brat is. But for the narrator, it was a way to thieve things. But mine used mostly for concealment, and for the rest of the day I'd be munching away at bananas, even though I didn't have a passion for them like I had of oranges. I got caught because the string of my brat broke, and Pongo, after examining my load, noticed my somewhat bulging pockets. He made me draw the pony and cart to one side, and then he took me in his cabin and went through my pockets. There were 17 oranges in all, and he placed them carefully on the table. An example has to be made, he said, of somebody or other, and I guess you were the unlucky one. Now, my lad, what have you to say for yourself? I said nothing. He was frightened, but he forced to keep his mouth shut. I had read too many detective stories to make the mistake of blabbing. Anything you say may be used in evidence against you. I kept that firm in my mind, and I refused to be interrogated. Pongo, who did not care for my attitude, said, "All right, I'll go off and bring a colleague as a witness." And with that, he went, carefully locking the door behind him. I felt awful then. It was the suspense. I looked at the wall, and he was looking at the 17 oranges, and I looked at my brat with the broken string. I thought of how I would get sacked and sentenced, and what my mother and father would have to say whether he wanted to escape punishment. There was no escape. He was there, and the evidence was there on the table, and Pongo had gone for his mate to be a witness. I was ruined for life. Oh my God, I moaned in anguish. What shall I do? Eat them, spoke a voice in my head. I asked. Eat them? Yes, that's right, replied this inner voice. And then the evidence will be gone, but be quick about it. You need to eat quickly. I thought for half a second, then I snatched an orange, peeled it in no time and popped it in my mouth, crushed the juice out and swallowed it. I was just about to spit the pips when his voice cried. What did his voice cry? Pips matlab seeds. No, you have to swallow them. Words, the pips? Yes, peels and all. You have to eat the peels as well as the pips. Evidence. Oh, of course. And I found the pips to the back of my mouth and took a handful of peel to get them down my gullet. Don't bother to chew, said the voice. It's a race against time. It certainly was. After the first orange, I took out my penknife and slashed the fruit into chunks and gulped them as fast as I could pick them up. I was all full to the brim with 3 oranges still to go when I heard Pongo and his mate coming back. With a sigh, I gave up, but the voice warned me to go on, suggesting that more I ate, the less evidence there would be, and as luck would have it, Pongo and his mates were detained over inspecting some outgoing wagons, so they got busy in doing something else. I set about finishing those last few, and by the time the key turned into a lock, I was consuming the final piece of 17 oranges. "That's him," began Pongo to his mate. I caught him with his pocket full of oranges. He looked at the table. "Hi, where are they?" "View," sniffed his mate. "I can smell them." I never spoke. Pongo began to search. He looked high and low, went through my pockets, felt at the brat, but of course he found no trace of an orange. Finally he figured out what might have happened, but even then he couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe that somebody ate 17 oranges with pips and also the peels. 17 oranges, he kept murmuring. Big ones at that, how he managed it. But I said nothing, and he couldn't bring up a charge against me because he had no evidence upon which to commit me, and because I suppose he did not want to be laughed at. So all he could do was to curse me while I kept my lips shut tight, and then he had to let me go. It was days and days before I could stand really still and think clearly, because those 17 oranges, pips and all, kept working way in my stomach, something shocking. Now we have word meanings. Rarely, seldom, protection, safety, pickups, things which the narrator had to pick up, docks, place where ships or boats are loaded, and overgarment made of coarse cloth, colleague, co-worker, suspense, indecision, concealment, hiding, blabbing, talk foolishly, without thinking, mate, colleague, pip, seed, gullet, throat, commit, hand over for trial. The brat was an apron made from a sugar bag. Fill in the blanks. I was driving a little pony and cart for the delivery company. ये आप खुद से करेंगे. Subjective type questions. How and when was the boy caught red-handed? The boy was caught red-handed while stealing 17 oranges by Pongo, who was a cop, when his brat tore away. Do this in the same manner. Writing skills. Willful waste makes woeful want. Explain in your own words. You have to talk about that, how excess of waste makes unnecessary want. Grammatical skills. You have to write the antonyms. Credit का antonym क्या होता है? Debit. Similarly, you'll do the rest. Replace underlined words with suitable adverbs and rewrite sentences. She danced gracefully. Similarly, you'll do the rest. ये भी आप ऐसे ही करोगे. Now you have activity skills. Explain the saying with a story. Slow and steady wins the race. You can talk about the rabbit and the turtle story where they do a race and the tortoise wins as the rabbit starts sleeping. I hope you understood this chapter properly. Read it again and revise all the questions to understand it even better.